What's up everybody, it's Kyle, and in this video I want to talk about the halving of Bitcoin event. I'm going to talk about what it is, when it will happen, and what potentially will happen to the value of Bitcoin after the event takes place. So why this video is important is because I'm coming from the beginner's mindset in the crypto space, finding out facts and data and trying to make an informed decision on what to do when this event takes place, which happens once every 4 years. So first, before we get into everything, take 2 seconds to smash the like button. Also, hit subscribe and click the notification bell so you will get notifications every time I post a new video, as well as follow me on Instagram. I post there pretty much daily, so you will get other aspects of my life as well. All right, so let's start from the beginning. This is my history with Bitcoin. Now, I'm just putting it out there. I own 2 Bitcoins. I bought them around the $7,000 entry mark, and my whole mindset behind this was it was actually complete FOMO, and it was complete speculation. I've heard 2 sides of the story. On one side, I heard that, one Bitcoin could get to $1 million mark. The other side of this coin, so to speak, I've heard that, it could potentially go to 0. Now, I really don't think it's going to go to 0 anymore. I think there's been a certain maturity level to Bitcoin, of course, that I think it's holding its value. However, that was my mentality going in. It was complete FOMO, so I decided to get into the space before it was too late. And, my mentality about getting 2 of them was that, once, depending on what kind of price, what happened with the value, if it went up to a certain amount, maybe I would sell one of them and then get out and just use house money and cash out my initial investment. However, I wasn't even aware that you could sell partial Bitcoins and that they were known as satoshis and that you could just sell them off in parts like that. So that was how much of that I didn't know getting into the space in the first place. So here we are before this halving event, and I wanted to gain some knowledge about this, see what it was all about, and kind of make a video about this coming from that mindset of not knowing anything about it. So I have this article here, and I wanted to kind of find out what halving was. So halving explained is this. I'm also putting the link below to the article that I found. The term halving, according to this CoinDesk article, is halving refers to a programmed in event in Bitcoin's code, which reduces the reward per block mined by 50% every 4 years to control inflation. The following upcoming halving rewards issued will drop 6.25 Bitcoin from the current 12.5 Bitcoin level. So you will get rewarded less the more Bitcoin is mined. So I put a graph below that shows the 2 events that happened prior in 2012 and then in 2016, and now this will be the 2020 halving event, and I put a graph down below to show kind of what the trajectory of Bitcoin was prior to the event and what happened after it. So after these 2 halving events happened, it looks like from 12 to 15 months after it, the Bitcoin value saw incredible gains. Now, this is actually what analysts are considering and really thinking are going to happen in this event as well. Now, it's not to say that there won't be an initial pullback, but just from historically speaking about 2012s and 2016s, the 12 to 15 months afterwards, Bitcoin's value saw incredible gains. So now I'm going to also read something that has to do, that first definition of halving kind of was not in layman's terms, but basically in layman's terms, it's this. Halving will reduce the amount of Bitcoins rewarded to miners, thereby reducing the supply of coins entering the market, supply and demand. So not only does halving boost the price as a result of added scarcity, but additional media attention and positive impact that this has on Bitcoin's prices historically will drive up demand. Now, this was by a guy from Don Guo, G-U-O, CEO of Octagon FinTech Group. So essentially what they're saying is less money, less Bitcoins coming into the marketplace, essentially how Powell right now is just printing trillions of dollars, and everybody's worried about inflation coming into the U.S. marketplace for the dollar. They're talking about lessening that amount of Bitcoins coming into the marketplace, which creates more scarcity, which should drive up the demand and the value of Bitcoin. So I put a chart below that shows from about the first couple weeks after the halving event, the graph just the value of Bitcoin went sideways, even after last one in 2016. So you will see that I'm not initially thinking there's going to be a spike. We've seen a build up in anticipation to this halving event. What do I believe? I believe that we will see a drop. I think we will see a pullback. Right now, as I'm filming this, it's around 8,800 per Bitcoin. I think that we might get into the 7,000s. And personally, if I see that I may enter the space even more, and I might add up a little more, just in the anticipation that the following 12 to 15 months after this halving event in May, the value may increase. So now one more thing that I am considering in this halving event, as opposed to 2012 and 2015, there's one more situation, and it's our current situation we're dealing with, the whole Roni situation. Right now, there's a lot of skepticism in the markets, in the industries, in the U.S. economy, and I really think that this is going to add to the value of Bitcoin. People are going to be looking at a way to, and somewhere to invest their money that's an option besides the stock market. That's very volatile right now. It's very much in question of what's going to happen with this, and I just really believe that, the world is searching for alternative investments right now, and this is something that it's already been to a maturity level where we've seen it gain value and hold its value, and people might be looking for these alternatives instead of normal stock in the U.S. economy. I also think that with this added halving event, it's going to drive up the publicity about the marketplace. I mean, I was never really a crypto person even until after the 2016 one, which then we heard about, the spike, and it reached record highs of 20,000. That piqued my interest. So then I looked into the space. Now looking into it, it's just maturing. The whole space is maturing, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens after this event. So one more thing to point out, a lot of analysts are thinking that it could hit the 5-digit mark prior to the event. It could run up to the 10,000 mark. Not sure about that, but I really do believe that it's going to be due for a pullback right after the event. It almost reminds me of, say, something like the pot stocks. Pot legalization, Canadian legalization was coming. Pot stocks shot up to record highs, and just the valuations were through the roof. Everybody was kind of anticipating that once the legalization actually happened, that the values of the stocks was just going to keep rising and just keep going through the roof. However, the opposite happened, and there was a major pullback, and it's kind of been on a straight decline ever since. So it's almost like the anticipation is what drives the values up, and then once the news comes out, then there's always a pullback. But I do believe that in this situation, it's a little different. There's going to be maybe an initial pullback prior to an initial pullback post the halving event. However, I think there could be a little bit more of a value that we see prior to it. I'm just going to sit it though and wait and see what happens to it after the halving event happens. So that's it. We'll see what happens in the next couple weeks. It's really going to come. I don't believe there's an actual time that we know exactly when this event will happen. I know it's supposed to be in May sometime, but they said because of certain things they can't figure out exactly when the date will be, but I do anticipate within the next couple weeks. So we will see what happens with this. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just making this video on YouTube from what I know. So I would recommend talking to somebody else, a financial advisor if you have one, to see what your thoughts are or what their thoughts are on investing. And always I don't believe you should ever invest unless you have your necessities and yourself covered, and it's almost just extra money that you can put into something and you don't care what happens to it. It could go down, it could go up, and that's the only kind of money I always feel that is smart for investing. So guys, that's my disclaimer for everything. Thank you so much for staying to the end of this video. Please don't forget to share this if you think it will help anyone in figuring out this information about the halving event. Like this video, it will help me out with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and hit that little notification bell because I will be making more videos on this when the time comes and there is more information on this. And guys, please comment below. I will reply to it. I want to know what you think about it. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I post there pretty much daily, so you will get other aspects of my life as well. Thank you guys very much and have a great day.